Applying transitions and timings to slides. Transitions are special effects that appear during a slideshow when one slide moves to open for another. You can specify a transition for the entire presentation, which means all the slides can have one type of transition, or you can specify a transition for individual slides. Now let's go and see how transition works. To have transition, you will need to go into the transition menu, and the transition to the slides menu will open. Now this transition, depending on what you choose, you can time the duration that each slide open for each other, and you can go on to move and say how do you control the transition, whether you want the transition to be on mouse click or whether you want it to be automatically after a given period of time. So in this example, let's go in and select a different transition for this one particular slide. We click on that transition. It's called the aeroplane transition. Now you will see there that when this slide has to open for the other, it will open in this manner. Now we can go in and time the duration of this transition and say we want this transition to happen after this time. Now Microsoft PowerPoint gives you a chance to apply that particular transition to all the slides in your presentation. But for the sake of this lesson, let's go in and do a transition for each individual slide. In this case, let's say we want the slide to open up in a split. If you look at the little preview there, you will see that now from slide 1 to slide number 2, your slide number 2 will open in a split. We can go on as well to set in the timing for the split, and you will see that the duration that the slide takes to have the effect is dependent on the time that we put in there. You've got an option to go in and select the effect of that particular split, whether you want the transition to split horizontally, vertically out, vertically in, and so on. Let's choose here the vertically in for the transition. Okay, we can go on and do the transition for all our slides, but we can also go in and choose one transition here, and this transition we say must apply to all the slides. Now when we do the presentation later on, you will see that your presentation will take this particular effect. All the slides will open for each other in this particular manner. So from slide number 1 to slide number 2, all of them will actually open in this manner. We can also go in and select the sound that will actually come up when each and every one of the slides opens up. So we can choose various sounds in there, and you will hear the sounds opening in your presentation when you do your slideshow. When you're done with choosing the transition for your slide, then the next movement will be for you to go in and time whether you want your slides to open up automatically. Here you can set the time to say I want my slides to automatically open for each other after 4 seconds or after a minute and so on, or if you want your slides to open on mouse click. It is advisable though that when you do your presentation, you run them by a mouse click because at some point the presentation might be too fast for you or too slow for you while doing the presentation.